So, anybody heard of I guess there's some new Black Panther movie out? The joke being that as I record this, it is playing on the majority of screens everywhere in this country. Hey, it's Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the sequel to I'm bad with dates, a few years ago, Marvel phenomenon that was Black Panther, starring Chadwick Boseman as the titular Black Panther and King T'Challa and his origin story and all that. And he appeared in some of the other, Marvel Avengers and Avengers adjacent movies too. But here we have the follow-up, which answers that burning question. How do you follow up a very, very popular film starring an actor as a character when that actor is no longer with us? That was my question when I heard that there was going to be another Black Panther movie, or right after when I heard about the sad and untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman. What are they going to do now? And my first gut reaction was what they actually have done in this film. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of the plot. Not that the trailers didn't give you way too much of it already, but basically, if you're new to the world of Black Panther, he was a Marvel character. Marvel Comics superhero character. This sort of hidden African type country that that has been sort of, in a phantom zone where the rest of the world can't see them, but they can come and go as they please, gets discovered by the rest of the world, and their protector has always been, throughout history, handed down through the generations, this Black Panther. And that falls upon the Chadwick Boseman King T'Challa character when he suddenly finds himself king after his father passes away. And it's an origin story. The original was an origin story of learning to live with great power becomes great responsibility. And the film was it felt a little Bondian at times. It felt a little like a spy movie. You had his sister who is like the Q character, the science whiz, gadget mistress, master, and helping him go on these little missions and a little bit of a globe-trotting thing. There was a casino. There was a fight in a casino. He was in a tux at one point. So what do you do when that's gone? How do you do another film? Well, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is that film. So again, the very basic plot. The film opens with the off-screen death of the Black Panther / King T'Challa from a disease that his sister couldn't cure. So then the film is for a good amount of time, and this is like a 3-hour movie if you round up. With trailers at a major chain theater, it's easily a 3-hour movie. And it's basically his family and the kingdom trying to, carry on. It's a film about grief and a film about trying to carry on when someone very, very important to you is suddenly taken away unexpectedly. And what do you do and where do you go? Especially if suddenly you find yourself under threat again from some outside force that your great protector isn't there to protect you anymore. So this is a film about everybody else sort of stepping up their game, trying to find their place in the world of Wakanda, their place in the world in general. And you have Black Panther's sister. Here's the thing. I saw the original Black Panther when it came out. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was great. It didn't blow me away. I love that African Americans or people of the African descent around the world have a grade A, big budget, kick-ass superhero now. Before, you never quite did. It was always a sidekick, or it was some mediocre film. Everybody had Black Panther, and that was great. It made me very happy. And to see the audiences I saw that with, and how much they loved that character, it was really rather wonderful. So even though I didn't think personally the film was that great, and I thought that some of the action was really not terribly well done in Black Panther, I liked the character. I liked Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa and as Black Panther. So I was excited. I was like, okay, you got the origin out of the way. Give me more. So Wakanda Forever, it doesn't have that. So what do you do? So there's a lot going on in this movie. And of course, I'm not going to get deep into the plot because I never like to do that. Overall, the basic plot of Wakanda Forever is that the nation of Wakanda is sort of under threat from outside forces. This speaks a lot to world history in this film. It's a very female-centric film. It is a very indigenous peoples-centric film, and it is a film that really gets into the whole outside colonizers coming in and taking what they want and enslaving a people kind of movie. And it's not just about the Wakandans. There's another race, there's another kingdom that comes into play here. So you have the outside forces wanting to come in and get the vibranium from Wakanda by force if necessary, and Wakanda basically saying, you can try and take it, but we're kind of going to take you out if you do that. So there's sort of that international geopolitical stuff going on, and then you have another person who shows up who basically says, you need to join forces and protect my people from these outside colonizers who want to take this vibranium that happens to be in the area of the world that I live, or else we're just gonna wipe you out. So Wakandans are under attack from multiple places, just trying to basically just live in peace and do their thing without other people coming in and trying to mess it up. So you have a new villain character, which I'm not going to get into, just because if there's some way that you're a Marvel fan and you haven't had this spoiled for you already, and you go to the movies, it really is intended for Marvel fans to be like, oh wow, that character, we've never seen him on screen before. So it's a character that I remember as a kid that is the villain in this piece, and interesting to see that person, that entity on screen. And I will say the other race of people that this person represents, it was funny to see a trailer. So I saw this in IMAX 3D. Why? Because I don't have to pay a dime more to see an IMAX 3D, and with A-list, my whole thing is give me everything. Give me vibrating seats. Throw water on me. Everything. Whatever ticket would cost me the most, that's the one I'm going to go for, because I'm cheap and I like to get a lot of value for my money. So before the start of this film, there was a trailer for the new Avatar movie, which is all blue people underwater, and this new race that is a threat to Wakandans in Wakanda Forever is a race of blue people underwater. And I just thought it was kind of amusing. There are some pretty good action sequences in this film, grand battle scenes. The female Wakandan warriors kick ass with spears and blades and all kinds of Wakanda fu going on. Angela Bassett is very strong in this film. The returning cast is quite strong in this film. For me, Wakanda Forever, it was just a little too much going on for me and a little too long. Like, I didn't have a problem with any of it while I was watching it, but 2 hours and 40 minutes, there were aspects of it that superhero movies often have this problem. It goes to me back to like Batman Returns, where why have one villain when you can have three? And then so many superhero movies kept that mold ever since then, where instead of one villain, there's the A plot and the C plot and the B plot and the D plot. And I'm just like, could we have a superhero movie that's 80 to 90 minutes and it's about Superman trying to stop a runaway train? You watch the old Adventures, we're not talking about Superman, it's DC, I know, but if you watch the old Adventures of Superman TV show from the 50s, yes, it was a low budget thing, but that show got by on Superman trying to foil robberies. And it was still fun. And everything now is the end of the world. Before, this film wasn't an end of the world. This was smaller stakes, which was nice to see. It really was about Wakanda protecting itself. It wasn't worldwide calamity kind of stuff. But before this, there was a trailer for the new Shazam, which was yet another end of the world film. And I hate to say it, but after a while, this sounds like, you're so spoiled as a moviegoer, but after a while, the end of the world gets a little boring when it happens over and over and over again. So Wakanda Forever is the film I've been rambling about for far too long already. I thought it was good. I think this is a movie that will mean way more to you if you were a big fan of the first Black Panther. I think if you were a big fan of that character. I'm somebody who goes to see all these Marvel movies and I enjoy them all to whatever degree, but I never rewatch them. And I don't get really, really deep into it all. And I feel like there probably are a lot of people who have watched Black Panther over and over, and he is their superhero. There are kids or people who were kids when the first one came out for whom he is to them what Superman was to me as a kid. So for them, a movie that's about grief and mourning the loss of their hero is probably going to roll some tears. There's a bit of that at the beginning. They retool the Marvel logo to all be shots of Chadwick Boseman from the first film over silence. The end is a big tribute to him, and I could see a lot of people find this a very, very emotional experience. It wasn't for me just because I was not deeply, deeply invested in the characters or the film, but I hope they carry this on. It's not a huge thing to give away. There is a new Black Panther by the end of the movie, although honestly, you only get Black Panther in maybe the last 20 minutes of this movie, and there's so much going on. It's sort of oh yeah, and Black Panther's there. Because it's this grand scale theme. And then when the conflict is resolved at the end, it just sort of feels like somebody blows a whistle and goes, okay, that's it. And then there's a little bit more at the end. There's a little bit at the end that's sort of surprising, and then there's a little bit of a if you haven't seen this yet, let me save you time. If you've made it 10 minutes into this review and you still want to hear anything I have to say about it. So Marvel movies are known for the little extra, the little Easter eggs, they call them. Something partway through the credits, and then usually something at the very end of the credits that always tends to set up the next Marvel movie or the next film for the characters you've just watched. This film only has the mid-credit sequence, just so you know. And if you've been to any kind of blockbuster or Marvel movie, those are long credits because so many people work on these films to get all the technical wizardry and CGI magic taken care of. So I sometimes I'll actually be sitting in the theater, the lights come up, and I'll look up on my phone, is there a post-credit sequence so I can leave earlier? This one only has one in the mid-credits. So once you watch a little bit of credits and you see the scene, then there's more credits. If you're not interested in reading all the names, you pretty much can go home. So I've spent way too much time on this already. Again, as always, saying very little of substance. Some pretty heavy themes in Wakanda Forever. Some pretty serious themes about grief and loss and the buzzword of this decade, apparently, processing trauma, and also colonialism. It's funny, the CIA, I guess he is, character, Martin Freeman, from the previous Black Panther film and some of the other Marvel stuff. He is sort of an add-on character in this little bit of comedic relief. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in it as well as his ex-wife. And the Wakandan general keeps referring to him as, I believe, colonizer, which I think is kind of funny. So they really drive that point home in this film too. So a little political, but I mean, it's not like it ain't true world history. At any rate, in theaters now, and eventually, if you watch this far later, streaming on Disney Plus, is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.